If you think you know World of Warcraft, then you might need to think again. Behind every zone, quest, and boss fight is a tangled mess of betrayal, cosmic gods, and yes, even dragons with midlife crises. From the birth of the world to the latest expansion shaking the core of Azeroth, we're diving headfirst into WoW's most chaotic and straight-up mind-blowing lore.
Well, I, for one, could not be more excited about this next expansion.
Buckle up, champion. You're not ready, but let's go anyway. The Genesis Classic WoW 2004. Before you were transmogging tier sets or racing to mythic keystones, Azeroth was raw, dangerous, and deeply political. Classic WoW picks up after Warcraft 3, where the world is still recovering from the Third War, or the undead apocalypse. It was Arthas who caused it when he traded his soul for a frosty sword. Nice. You've got two major factions, the Alliance, which is basically fantasy NATO, and the Horde, a ragtag crew of misunderstood monsters, exiles, and angry cows. Instead of saving the world, most adventurers were busy getting ganked in Stranglethorn Vale, or trying to figure out where the hell Mankrik's wife went.
He argued that the spirit of the game ran all the way back to Warcraft Orcs and Humans, so this divide in factions, it needed to be present in World of Warcraft, regardless of the risks.
The threats were black dragons like Onyxia, secretly pulling the strings in Stormwind politics, ancient evils bubbling under Silithus, and Ragnaros, yes, an actual fire god, chilling in a volcano. And let's not forget Naxxramas, a floating necropolis run by Kel'Thuzad, the guy who probably sleeps on a mattress of bones. Do you know that you needed 40 people to raid some of these dungeons? Imagine coordinating 40 strangers in 2025. That's just a miracle. The Burning Crusade 2007, Space Goats and Demonic Drama. Anyways, the Dark Portal opens. Again, but this time we're going interdimensional. The Burning Crusade introduced Outland, which is a shattered world that looks like someone played Jenga with a planet. It's the home of the Draenei, the Space Goats, and the corrupted Blood Elves, who've got more baggage than an airport carousel. The big bad is Illidan Stormrage, the edgy elf with daddy issues, demon wings, and a tendency to shout, "You are not prepared," before slapping you into the nether. But he wasn't totally evil, just misunderstood, kind of like your favorite anime anti-hero.
Undergo these trials. You have proven yourselves as able-bodied champions of the Arctic Crusade.
We also met the Naru, these glowing space jellyfish who represent the light, and watched the Legion try to eat the universe again. Meanwhile, players were busy farming flying mounts and fighting giant mushrooms in Zangarmarsh. Wrath of the Lich King, 2008, Arthas Disney villain arc. Now this was personal. Wrath of the Lich King is where Blizzard said, what if we make everyone cry and give them a Frostworm mount? Northrend, the frozen continent, was cold and it was cruel. And at the top of it all sat Arthas Menethil, the fallen prince who merged with the Lich King and became fantasy Darth Vader.
Your great power.
The expansion dives deep into what it means to lose your humanity as players face a gauntlet of death cults, Vrykul, the giant Viking dads, and plague zombies with questionable hygiene. We even revisit Ulduar, a Titan facility with old gods whispering sweet madness into your ears.
But the truest victory, my son, is stirring the hearts of your people.
Blizzard added a zombie plague event before the expansion dropped. Players turned cities into undead wastelands. It was either the best pre-patch ever or the most chaotic troll in MMO history. But then, Icecrown Citadel, the final showdown, the betrayal, the fall, and a line that shook the WoW community. There must always be a Lich King. Cataclysm 2010, when the world broke, literally. Deathwing exploded out of the earth like an angry fire lizard with boundary issues.
The world heaves with my torment. Its wretched kingdoms quake beneath my rage.
Cataclysm was WoW's dramatic glow-up. Zones got redesigned, underwater dungeons became a thing. Ugh, and we met new races like the Goblins, capitalism, but cute, and the Worgen, British werewolves in top hats. The world literally changed forever. Thousand Needles flooded, Auberdyne got vaporized, and poor Loch Modan lost its dam. Meanwhile, players joined the fight against elemental chaos, cultists worshipping tentacle gods, and Alakir, a wind lord who made kiting bosses in the sky somehow terrifying. Mists of Pandaria, 2012, The Chill Before the Storm. Blizzard said, "You know what this blood-soaked saga needs? Pandas." Mists of Pandaria introduced the Pandaren, peaceful, noodle-loving monks who accidentally got dragged into faction drama. Players discovered a new continent that had been hidden by literal magical mists for 10,000 years. That's not a retcon, that's just Warcraft being Warcraft. But beneath the serene bamboo forests and majestic jade temples was darkness. The Shah, physical manifestations of fear, anger, and hate, began corrupting the land. All because Garrosh Hellscream, the new war chief, couldn't chill for 5 minutes. The story builds to the siege of Orgrimmar, where both the Alliance and Horde unite to bring down Garrosh for turning the Horde into a fascist war machine. Talk about an HR nightmare. Moreover, Mists had some of the most gorgeous zones and best class design ever, but people slept on it because pandas. Now it's considered one of the best expansions in hindsight. Who's laughing now? The Legion's return and the Broken Isles. Just when Azeroth thought it could take a breather, the Burning Legion came crashing back into the party like that one X who doesn't know how to stay gone. In Legion, Gul'dan reopens the portal to bring the full force of Sargeras' army. The Broken Isles rise from the sea, literally, and we meet some of the most badass zones and factions in the game. Valshara, Stormheim, Suramar, each one dripping with lore, tragedy, and a heavy dose of fell corruption. We also get the Illidari, demon hunters, who've sacrificed their humanity to fight fire with fell fire. And Illidan himself? Yeah, turns out we really were not prepared because he becomes a literal jailer of a space demon god. Don't question it, just go with it. Then there's the Tomb of Sargeras raid, where we finally slam the door on Kil'jaeden, face to fell, scarred face. It's emotional, cinematic, and full of that classic Blizzard touch. Gorgeous cutscenes paired with mechanics that make you scream in your chair. Battle for Azeroth, faction feels and old gods deals. After the sword of Sargeras pierces Azeroth, yes, the planet gets stabbed. The world starts bleeding literal gold juice, Azerite. Cue the start of Battle for Azeroth, where Horde and Alliance are fighting over who gets to drink the Kool-Aid of power first. But behind the red versus blue war facade, the real threat brews in the shadows. Come to N'Zoth, the last known old god, who's been whispering like a conspiracy theorist on Twitter, subtly corrupting key figures and turning the tide of war into madness. Meanwhile, Sylvanas goes full Banshee dictator, burning down Teldrassil and throwing the moral compass of the Horde into a blender. Anduin gets older and sadder, Sorfang gets nobler and deader, and the player gets whiplash trying to figure out who the real villain is. Well, if you want to know, it's trauma. And tentacles. Always the tentacles. Shadowlands, Afterlife, Aftermath, and a whole lot of questions. You died. Just kidding, but everyone else did. Shadowlands rips the veil between life and death, sending players into the afterlife to rescue souls, fight ancient jailers, and unpack cosmic lore that makes you wonder if your character should have taken Philosophy 101. Each zone in the Shadowlands is a mood. Bastion is for golden retrievers, Maldraxxus is for punk rock necromancers, Ardenweld is a Pinterest forest, and Revendreth is basically vampire Hogwarts. But the big boss is the jailer, Zoval, who's been pulling strings behind the scenes like he's the writer's room of Game of Thrones. And Sylvanas? Oh, she's all in. Until she's not, because she gets a redemption arc, kind of. She splits her soul in half, makes some speeches, and vanishes into the maw for community service. A very Blizzard way of saying, let's put her in lore jail until we figure out what to do with her. Dragonflight, Legacy Reborn, and Dragons on Demand. After all the cosmic chaos, Dragonflight brings the fantasy back, like old-school fantasy. We return to the Dragon Isles, where the ancient aspects awaken to reclaim their legacy and power. You ride dragons, you befriend dragons, you become dragons. Drakthir are introduced, which are dragonkin with wings, magic, and serious gymrat energy.
But for the first time, we found our strength inadequate. And we grew desperate. So when Neltharion assured us that with our help we could forge a weapon to win the war, we placed our trust in him. And we renewed our battle against the demons, only to have Neltharion, who now took the name Deathwing, turn on his own kind.
This expansion is a soft reboot in many ways. Azeroth feels grounded again. The stakes are personal. We're exploring legacy, rebuilding ancient orders, and learning that not all dragonflights are created equal. Some have gone rogue, some have secrets, and some just want their powers back without causing a second cataclysm. Worldsoul Saga, the next epic chapter. Blizzard recently dropped a lore bomb with the announcement of the Worldsoul Saga, a trilogy of expansions that will take WoW into a new era.
I think we're coming off an excellent expansion in Dragonflight, but you got up and did something that surprised everybody, which was, we're not doing the normal, here comes the next expansion, here are the features, here's the storyline in its basic way. We are going to do a trilogy of essentially...
First up, The War Within, where we delve into the heart of Azeroth. Underground kingdoms, ancient secrets, and possibly answers to long-standing mysteries about the world's origin. Next in the saga is Midnight, a return to Quel'Thalas, where the void invades and the light takes a darker turn. And then, The Last Titan, where we finally confront the Pantheon and figure out if Azeroth herself is actually a sentient cosmic being or just a really unlucky rock. This is Blizzard going full MCU. Connected story arcs, returning characters, huge stakes, and hopefully a payoff that justifies 20 years of plot twists.
It has been pretty amazing.
It's ambitious, risky, and exactly what WoW needs to stay relevant.
I don't think this gives up the ghost on anything. Like, we're building 3 of these at a time.
If they pull it off, it could redefine what a live service MMO story can look like. Still breathing after all that? That's just a taste of World of Warcraft's tangled, epic, and occasionally ridiculous story. And guess what? It's still not over. So, hit that like and subscribe button, because behind the pixels lies a world where legends clash, timelines collapse, and every patch note carries the weight of destiny.